Uh, Welcome to this afternoon's session and the final session of the workshop. At this point, I'd like to ask CEO Narain to join us. Would you like me to read this, or would you like to introduce yourself?
You can
All right. Well, CEO Narain Babwa holds a master's degree in maritime management and a Class 3 certificate of competency in marine engineering with a limited Class 2 endorsement. He has been employed with the Port Authority of Trinidad and Tobago for the last 28 years and has moved from clerk to cadet to chief engineer. Presently, he's assistant divisional manager, marine, in charge of harbor, implementing and enforcing all relevant local and international regulations for safe and secure trade. ¿Puedes apagar tu micrófono porque es que está haciendo interferencia? Gracias. Thank you. There's a slight interference there. Mr. Babwa is also responsible for the tourist port of Scarborough in Tobago, the bunker port of Sea Lots, as well as all aspects of the CARICOM trade. His job includes aids to navigation, hydrographic surveys, quay wall maintenance, towage, and 12-ton and second-tier oil spills response in all ports are under his purview. The Port Authority is also a ship owner, and as such, Mr. Babwa advises on the relevant codes and conventions pertaining to high-speed crafts, conventional RORO ferries, tugs, and launches. Please.
Thank you all for this opportunity on behalf of myself, my Port Authority, and my country to be here. The host was excellent. Everybody was accommodating and approachable. Thanks, Mr. Duran, and I know Ms. Swoboda and the rest. Today, what I have to say, we cannot sit on. Thus, I will stand. Hello all. What I would like to talk about a little bit is ballast water. Last night I had to tweak my presentation a little bit. I wanted to go straight into the presentation. However, for the benefit of some of the delegates here, some of them said that they're not familiar with with the ballast water management, so I changed my presentation to accommodate them and give them a little introduction into this. Dr. Gallagher and Dr. Wright from Solent University in the UK, they were in agreement with the IMO that the 4 major threats, marine major threats, ballast water invasive species is one of the greatest. Unlike the other 3, when this is allowed to proliferate, it is very difficult to control and to mitigate. The others, you might be able to do something about it, but ballast water, migratory invasive alien species, it is very, very difficult. Having said that, Fernley Review said that in 2008, the 13,000 billion ton mile and Lloyd's Register Fair Play 2009 says that that is carried over on approximately 53,000 ships, and IMO 2008 declare, which we all know, 90% of all world trade is on the seas. GISP of 2005 and also KSEL of 2002 declared that the trajectory and the spreadability of migratory species is devastating. To give an example of this, in Rio de la Plata region in Argentina, Uruguay, the river mouth, from the very first sighting of the golden mussel, 10 years after, it spread 1,100 kilometers inland up the river and up to Panama. In the first sighting, it was only like 5 meters squared, and after 10 years, that escalated to 150,000 meters squared, spreading at 240 kilometers per annum. So you can see how this is certainly a great threat. Right. Yeah, I'm fine with it. So ballast water transfer. For those who don't know, ballast water, it is the water that is in the tanks of the ships. This is from the IMO, and at the source ports, the ship will take in ballast water for stability, to activate the propeller, and to maintain a certain amount of speed, and the ship wouldn't capsize. So they take in thousands of gallons of ballast water, and then, especially in a one-way trade, please pay note to that, especially in the one-way trade. So you go to a port, you offload the ballast water, the destination port, and here, all the water is pumped out, and cargo is taken. So we know about Colregs. So one is pumped out, and the other is pumped in, and to maintain the load level lines. A lot of you here are familiar with what I'm saying. So you have ballast water pumped into a host nation that is not indigenous to that area. The threat. I don't like to use a lot of words in my slides, but I have to do it. A modern tanker, right, in the Great Lakes carry over 14 million gallons of ballast. You have up to 1 million gallons of ballast water, that is the EPA, in seagoing tankers. And in these ships, EPA 2001 declared that 7,000 to 10,000 alien species are carried around the world every single day, with approximately 3 to 10 billion tons of ballast water, GoBallast 2002. This year in a 4-period area, scientists studying at Oregon, they show that 367 types of organisms, microbes, larvae, plankton, zygotes, all of these things carried over in ships. So the threat is definitely real, and this 4-hour period is nothing big, with boats and ships that are making up to 22 to 28 knots, very, very, very fast. No matter the size of the ship, VLCC, ULCC, big boats, they do this type of speed. So even though that you are coming from the Far East to the Caribbean, these little hitchhikers, they will flourish. They will not die. The ecological impact. The aliens do change the marine ecosystem diversities, the food chain, the web chain, and most of the time they affect the host port in a negative way. And the economic impact, you can see here, since 1988 in the first detection of the zebra mussel, it has cost Canada and America billions, I'm not saying millions, billions of dollars in loss, cost and loss of revenue. The health, the Vibrio cholerae hepatitis was carried in ballast water, And we all know of the infamous Peruvian disaster. Over 10,000 people died through cholera. And it was deduced that that bacteria was actually carried through ballast water. You have, and not only that 10,000 people died, but millions of people were affected negatively. And you have a host of other various health impacts. The illegal instruments. The Convention of Biological Diversity, they were one of the first to promulgate and propagate invasive species, but not ballast water as yet, but invasive species, not only in form of ballast water, but aeroplanes and agriculture and all of these things. And then Agenda 21 that speaks directly to sustainable development, Brunton's Law. From there it went into that, and then the 2002 conference, and so it goes on, and we reach down to guidelines in 1993. In 1993, they just had because coming out from the 1988 detection of migratory invasive alien species in the Great Lakes, right? 5 years later, 1993, right? Guidelines were set up by the contracting parties, but 4 years later, we realized that, hey, there is a loophole, definitely. And it was tweaked and honed for the time being. Again, we realized that it is not under control. There are definite loopholes. Then you came with the resolution, and still that did not work. So from the guidelines for the control and management of ship ballast water in 1997, 14 years after, the International Convention for the Control and Management of Ship Ballast Water, the Ballast Water Convention. So here, after 14 years, then it has reached here. Just a little note about it. Article 18 did say that this will come into force when 30 member states ratify this convention, which represents about 35% of the tonnage on sea. So far, it is an anomaly, and we have 33.8% tonnage represented, but 38 countries. What happened is that new countries have now signed into the IMO convention. That is that little anomaly there. And this is of this morning. This morning I went on the website and look at that. So this is where my presentation really starts. That is just a little insight and an introduction. I am very, very, very I feel strongly about this. There's the need to implement legislation on ballast water management in the Caribbean. Earlier on this morning, my friend from Barbados, Anthony, he spoke a lot about regional implications, regional harmony, regional politics, regional policies, all of these things to combat all the various different maritime issues. And I feel strongly about this. I try to advocate this. What happened is that in my country, you have national ballast water system. And I am saying, hey, no. No national ballast water system. Yes, fine, you have something there. But the effort should really be generated to implementing legislation, not just only a simple, by the way, MOU, but law, right? Implementation of legislation on the ballast water management in the wider Caribbean. GVAN 2002 stated that there are different types of Caribbean. Or we have the Lesser Antilles, we have the Greater Antilles, we have the Insular Caribbean. But the Caribbean that I talk about is the 26 insular states plus the 19 dependent states on Netherlands and America and France. As this wider Caribbean is dictated by the IMO, by the MARPOL Annex. I will be discussing, it's okay, that's no problem. I will be discussing and show my reason that we should go regional. Before I enter into that, I must say that the Helsinki Commission, which includes Germany, Russia, certain European countries, Latvia, Estonia, and Denmark, they are the big maritime nations. And because of commonality, because they have the same, the Baltic area, and the Baltic area, by the way, in 2006, Roberts et al., 2006, did say that the Baltic area was declared a PSSA. So it is a very, it is a ecological safe place, and you have to be, it's a very sensitive area. So shipping is very sensitive and restricted because of that area due to a number of factors, aesthetics and historical heritage. So the Baltic area is protected by PSSA. So having said that, these countries, the Helsinki Commission, what they did is they actually have regional legislation. This is the point I want to bring to the fore. They have regional. It is not that I'm going to say about myself, you say about yourself, you. No, 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 no. And they have regional ballast water legislation because of commonality. They maybe share the same language or same waters and same type of trade. And it is always better that for recording data, enforcement, and monitoring. So that area, this is working just fine. So I am promoting that on this basis that can also work here too. So the Caribbean Current is made up of a number of different currents, 4 major currents: the Caribbean Current, the Caribbean Loop, and the Brazilian Current, and they all swirl around in this area. Now what, according to Shelby Consultants, contracted by UNEP, they'll tag litter. Oh, I can't see. Yeah. All right, I wouldn't go into that. I will just go straight into what happened is that basically we share the same current, right or wrong. That is what I want to say. I wanted to establish my reference, and the transshipment is real. We have the port of Port-au-Spain, Point Lisas, Freeport, Jamaica. There's a lot of transshipment, and so I am basing the threat on the current, on the transshipment, and the trade. And the trade, the Caribbean, the Association of Caribbean States and the Caribbean Shipping Association, they give you some data here. Lloyd's list shows some ports, and this one is really from Trinidad. We're talking about huge tankers. So what I'm showing here is that the threat is real. There's a lot of shipping taking place in the Caribbean. Basically, that is what I'm showing there. They have different trade routes. The trade routes show that we do trade with almost every person in the world, and we have different passages. So we're going back and forth here and there, all everywhere. This is a nice one in the culture. We all know somebody 2 days ago, Monday, was saying, hey, and they say, they was giving a nice example, saying, you know, man, hey, man, how you going there, and just let you go with the small craft, and then that person could be, you know, a threat. More or less it's something like this. This is what I mean, that because of where we come from, our history, some of our laws and our restriction elapsed, you know. I see a Bajan brother maybe trading, and he did not conform to something. I say, next time, you know, you go. You know, and we do that. That's where we come from, and that is who we are, and that is part of our life and our spirit. We are indeed the Caribbean man. So those things are lapse, and here, you know, there could be a loophole there. And then people like to trade with the Caribbean because it's not a hotspot. There's no bombing taking place. There's no not too much demonstration, and so you find that international conglomerates, they trade with the Caribbean. So a chain is as strong as its weakest link. So what I want to say there is that if all the Caribbean countries implement their own national legislation, they have nice rules, everything is done fine, and just one little island did not have anything, right? By the hub and spoke, the feeder, the transshipment, and all of these things, and the current, that one little island can contaminate the rest of the Caribbean. That is basically what I'm saying. So, having said that, I am saying that we should all go, right, regional. We should see about everybody. Not every single island has the political will, the finance, the technology, and everything, you know. So that is really where everything is based on for me today. And on that premise, I would show, this is some photos here of some of these migratory species. And what is the way forward? Well, you have the Regional Action Committee, the Regional Environment, Pollution, Emergence, Information Training Committee. It is in Curacao, and they were working together with IMO, and they have established some LPC, some leading partner countries. Jamaica is one, the Bahamas, and Venezuela, Trinidad and Tobago, because they wish to be part of this, and they started off to bring to the fore the fight and take the fight straight back to the actual where it started. So Jamaica was leading in that, and but it all just, as we say, somebody said it this morning, I think Anthony said it, that we come here and we talk nice, lofty ideas, and then that's it, you know. So then we have the IMO Ballast Partnership, Global Environmental Fund, and UND, and they were willing to assist in this program. And of course we have CARICOM, we have the Association of Caribbean States, and this is why I'm here, the OAS, but the person is not here. So what they can do now, we are not alone. Dr. John Agard, Nobel Prize winner, together with Rosemary Kishore and Beban, they made research and conclusive evidence that truly this is a real disaster. What happened is that the Chinese mitten crab from the port of Point Lisas reached Venezuela, went to Jamaica, and end up in Florida, all right? So even this affect all the Caribbean. So this is truly a part that we should consider. In my concluding thoughts, IMO, I must read this, IMO cited invasive species are therefore by definition a transboundary problem and can only be effectively addressed through regional and International Corporation. Added to that, no man is an island, entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent and a part of the main. So we all in this same boat together. We all will be affected. My point again, to reiterate, if one Caribbean island does not have ballast water, national laws, national legislation, we all are at a threat. Basically, that's what I'm saying. The end references. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Senior Rain. That was a good discussion of something we hadn't discussed yet. Excellent. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Senior Rain? No. We're all getting tired. Yes. All right. Captain? Capitan?
Al final, bueno. Gutiérrez. Manuel.
Okay, our last speaker is Captain Manuel Gutierrez Gallardo from Mexico. Captain, I'll let you introduce yourself. If everyone could take a moment, para presentar en español. Pero no sabe que puedo leer. No, usted lo puede hacer. ¿Va a presentar en español? Okay. This presentation will be in Spanish, so for those who want to put on their headsets, great opportunity. Capitán.
Muchas gracias. Antes que nada, quiero felicitar a nuestro amigo Jorge Durán, jefe de la Secretaría de la Comisión Interamericana de Puertos. Gracias. Jorge, no estabas. Por la exitosa reunión convocada, esto sin dejar de mencionar a su valioso equipo de trabajo, Mona, Berenice, por su relevante participación en la organización y logística de este evento. Por lo que le pido a todos los presentes, les demos un caluroso aplauso. Claro, por supuesto, a nuestro amigo Brian Barat, de Marat, porque sé que trabajaron en conjunto para la realización de este evento. Todos ustedes también reciban un cordial y afectuoso saludo del Coordinador General de Puertos y Marina Mercante, licenciado Guillermo Ruiz de Teresa, quien es la máxima autoridad en Puertos y Marina Mercante de México. El capitán Casarrubias, aquí presente, que es el capitán de puerto de Veracruz, uno de los puertos de mayor prosapia en el país, y un servidor, estamos muy orgullosos de permitirnos tener una plaza entre vosotros y poder compartir las experiencias aprendidas con todos ustedes. Vamos a comenzar con la presentación. La siguiente. Okay. Bueno, hemos tomado este tema, la protección marítima en México, porque vemos que está vinculada a la protección y la seguridad. La protección y la seguridad son primos hermanos, y creo que el tema de esta reunión tan relevante se trata de esos dos temas en particular. La siguiente. La OMI da a conocer las enmiendas al capítulo 11.2 del SOLAS, donde nace el código PBP, el Código para la Protección de Buques e Instalaciones Portuarias, y México lo da a conocer a través del diario oficial de la Federación a todo el país. Es de cumplimiento obligatorio para todos los puertos y buques nacionales. Siguiente. Quiero mostrarles esta lámina porque uno de los objetivos importantes de la protección marítima y portuaria del país, en base a las mejores prácticas y al intercambio de experiencias aprendidas con los oficiales de protección de nuestro país, así como los de otras naciones con quienes México tiene intercambio marítimo comercial, todo dentro del marco internacional en comento. Observen que México cuenta con 11.500 kilómetros de litorales comprendidos entre el Océano Pacífico, el Golfo de México y el Mar Caribe. Siguiente. México cuenta con 16 administraciones portuarias integrales federales, 5 administraciones estatales, 1 privada y 3 del Fondo Nacional de Fomento al Turismo. Todos estos puertos reciben embarcaciones de tráfico internacional, son puertos de altura. Se tienen registradas 232 instalaciones portuarias entre concesionarios y cesionarios, de las cuales 202 están certificadas en el Código PBP, 8 en proceso de certificación, esto por ser instalaciones nuevas, y 11 en suspensión, en sus verificaciones y en proceso de sanción. En cuanto a los buques, se tienen registrados 600 buques nacionales, de los cuales 507 están certificados, 56 en proceso de certificación y 7 buques rezagados en sus verificaciones y en proceso de sanción. La siguiente. Ahí podemos ver la gráfica del cumplimiento tanto de buques e instalaciones portuarias. Siguiente. Es importante señalar que las revisiones de las mercancías de importación y exportación en nuestro país se llevan a cabo por las aduanas marítimas. Las administraciones portuarias integrales han dotado a nuestras aduanas del equipo necesario para la revisión de mercancías a través de rayos gamma, tanto de importación como de exportación, básculas dinámicas y cámaras de circuito cerrado de televisión. Los 4 puertos de mayor movimiento de carga en el país, en el Golfo de México, son Veracruz y Altamira, y en el Pacífico, Lázaro Cárdenas y Manzanillo. Podemos ver una foto de un rayos gamma de importación tipo ISIS. El ISIS, con las cámaras que integran este sistema, convierte de imágenes a datos en un programa, en una plataforma, el número de contenedor y la placa del tractocamión. Asimismo, escanea el contenedor para verificar y cotejar con el manifiesto de carga que coincida la mercancía que dice en el papel con la imagen que se está viendo. Y el último portal es para detectar radiación. El siguiente. Ahí podemos ver los 4 puertos más importantes que cuentan con rayos gamma de importación, de exportación y también el ferrocarril. La carga que ingresa o que sale de los puertos vía ferrocarril también se escanea por estos sistemas. Siguiente. Hablábamos de la basura el primer día de este taller, pero vinculada al Marpol anexo 5, su disposición final, porque se considera la basura que viene de otros países como residuos biológicos infecciosos, su destino final debe ser incinerada. Por cuestiones del Código PBP, existe un procedimiento para descargar la basura de los barcos que se hace con vehículos dedicados a este proceso. Se prohibió la descarga de las basuras de embarcaciones por lancha. Antiguamente la basura se descargaba de los barcos a través de lanchas, pero estas lanchas descargaban la basura en otro punto donde no se revisaba la mercancía. Ahora, por cuestiones del Código PBP, vinculadas con el Marpol anexo 5, toda la basura que se descarga de los barcos tiene que pasar también por los rayos gamma. El siguiente. ¿Qué hemos aprendido en estos 10 años de implementación del código PVP? Detectamos y aprendimos que los oficiales de protección necesitaban tener más apoyo de la alta dirección, por lo que en los planes de protección, en la confección de los planes de protección, en uno de los capítulos, insertamos la responsabilidad y la obligación y el compromiso de la alta dirección. Ahora la alta dirección es auditada también en el proceso de auditoría. Además, se instala en todos los puertos del país el Comité Asesor de Protección Portuaria, que es integrado por las diferentes autoridades federales, estatales y municipales que tienen que ver con el puerto. Este comité es recomendado por la OMI y la OIT. Del repertorio de recomendaciones prácticas de la OMI y OIT, nosotros integramos desde el 2004 a este comité, quien el presidente de estos comités en los puertos es el capitán de puerto. Siguiente. Continuamos con los ejercicios que tenemos con la Guardia Costera de Estados Unidos y el Comité Interamericano contra el Terrorismo, Transport Canada también, en prácticas y ejercicios, intercambio de experiencias en diferentes reuniones que se han hecho desde el 2004. Además, en todos los puertos se hace la señalización sobre los niveles de protección que tienen los puertos. Es decir, toda la comunidad portuaria, marítima y portuaria, cuando ingresa a una instalación, por el incremento de los niveles que esto implica hacer estrictas más las revisiones, le indicamos a través de un semáforo de protección los colores de bandera. Nivel 1, verde, nivel 2, amarillo y nivel 3, rojo, en el día con bandera y en la noche con un semáforo de colores. Siguiente. Se crean también los Centros Unificados para la Protección Marítima y Portuaria, también conocidos como CUMAR, a través de un acuerdo de colaboración entre la Secretaría de Marina Armada de México y la Secretaría de Comunicaciones y Transportes. Además, se logró emitir una norma oficial mexicana que obliga a las embarcaciones menores ni nacionales con un arqueo bruto menor a 300 unidades y con más de 7 metros de eslora, portar un sistema de identificación automática AIS clase B, en donde actualmente estamos en el proceso de instalar 19,000 equipos. Estos equipos son gratis para los pescadores y además cuentan con un dispositivo, un botón SOS. En caso tengan problemas, podemos rápido ubicarlos y acudir en su auxilio. Siguiente. En el seno de la Dirección General de Marina Mercante existe una sala de monitoreo y manejo de crisis. En esta sala se llevan a cabo videoconferencias con los capitanes de puerto del país, con los oficiales de protección y los directores de las administraciones portuarias. Y en esa sala monitoreamos el LRIT, las cámaras de circuito cerrado de televisión que existen en los puertos, que son aproximadamente 2,500 cámaras, el AIS-A, el AIS-B y todas las condiciones meteorológicas. Siguiente. El LRIT ya lo conocen todos ustedes en sus 4 módulos, lo tenemos bien implementado en nuestro país y le damos vida a través del Estado Rector del puerto, verificando las composiciones instantáneas, el cumplimiento de barcos de otros países. Siguiente. Este es un modelo de Conformance Test Report emitido por la Autoridad Marítima Mexicana. Siguiente. El derrotero meteorológico también lo tenemos ahí en la sala táctica. el derrotero meteorológico es muy importante para los navegantes de embarcaciones menores y mayores, y estos boletines se emiten a todas las capitanías de puerto. Tenemos 103 capitanías de puerto en el país y retransmiten el boletín a través del radio VHF, a través del banda lateral a todos los navegantes, y además se hace a través de las radiodifusoras locales y medios de comunicación. La siguiente. También tenemos un semáforo para indicar en los puertos las condiciones. Si el puerto está abierto a toda la navegación, si el puerto está cerrado a embarcaciones menores o si está cerrado a todo tipo de navegación. Siguiente. Tenemos una red de estaciones meteorológicas. Las verdes están en activo, las amarillas están en proceso de fortalecerlas y rojas están en mantenimiento. Con esta red de estaciones meteorológicas tomamos la información de las condiciones actuales y podemos emitirlos desde el nivel central, los boletines meteorológicos. Siguiente. Pues esta es mi presentación, breve. Sé que están cansados después de la comida y bueno, muchas gracias si tienen alguna pregunta.
Bueno, seguiré en español para que nadie se quite los audífonos. Muchas gracias, capitán, muchísimas gracias. Y también al capitán Casarrubias, que está sentado por allá, por exponer de una manera muy sucinta la política portuaria de seguridad de México. Te agradezco mucho. Abro el piso a comentarios o preguntas, por favor. Eso significa que todo quedó clarísimo.
I got a question in reference to. Okay. Yes, I have a question in reference to the AIS system that you're using for the fishing vessels. Is that something that you came up with on your own, and how did you implement it? The reason why I ask is that we have similar situations in the Bahamas, whereby many of our fishing vessels are not regulated, and there have been instances where they go out to sea with no safety provision in place, and then one of the biggest maritime accidents or catastrophe we would have in the Bahamas is basically the fishing vessels going out to sea unprepared. So how did you come up with your system as far as we do get a lot of aid from the United States Coast Guard if there is any fishermen that be out there in distress and so forth. But for the most part, within the territorial waters of the Bahamas, has been a challenge for us, and we were trying to come up with some sort of mechanism whereby we can sensitize them to safety provisions. But what you just mentioned just now, it kind of hit home, and I'm really interested in knowing how you came about with your system.
Sí, gracias. Bueno, una de las de los principales intereses de la Administración Marítima Mexicana y como igual la compartimos, es la seguridad de la vida humana en el mar. El gremio pesquero es un gremio muy difícil de concientizar. Sin embargo, una de las políticas de nuestro director general de Marina Mercante ha sido trabajar mucho en concientización y además darles el apoyo requerido. ¿Cómo lo logramos? Este equipo es gratuito para todos los pescadores. Es un requisito que debe de traer el equipo, es obligatorio. De otra manera, no pudieran recibir su certificado de seguridad marítima. Si no tienen su certificado de seguridad marítima, no pueden obtener su permiso de pesca. Entonces, esa fue nuestra estrategia. Hemos trabajado mucho en concientización con los pescadores por el alto índice de accidentes que han tenido, porque se les acaba la gasolina, no llevan equipos de comunicación, no leen los reportes meteorológicos. Entonces este equipo AISB lo mandamos a confeccionar especialmente para el tipo de embarcaciones que ellos usan, que son embarcaciones tipo inmensa, embarcaciones menores abiertas de 7 metros de eslora hacia arriba. Este dispositivo integra en un solo dispositivo el GPS y la antena VHF. Ustedes saben que el AIS se integra por 2 equipos separados. Este lo integra en uno solo. El equipo flota, tiene una batería que dura 7 días, nadie lo puede abrir y tiene un botoncito rojo de SOS. Si el pescador se quiere hacer a la mar, pues debe tener un certificado de seguridad y debe tener un certificado de pesca. Para poder obtener el certificado de seguridad, debe tener el AIS-B y nosotros se lo instalamos. Nuestro equipo de trabajo en las capitanías de puerto les instalan de forma gratuita este equipo a todos los pescadores. Esa fue la estrategia que hemos manejado. ¿Qué problemas hay que se les pueden presentar si ustedes tratan de implementar esto? Los pescadores no quieren que sepan otros pescadores dónde están pescando. Es una realidad. Sin embargo, este equipo nada más transmite, no recibe. Está codificado. ¿Quién lo recibe? Nuestra sala táctica en Marina Mercante, los centros de control de tráfico marítimo y las embarcaciones encargadas de atender llamadas de auxilio de la Secretaría de Marina. Entre ellos no se ven. ¿Ok?
Anyone else? Chris?
Good day, Alexander from San Lucia. I'm just curious in terms of if you could elaborate further in terms of the acquisition of the AIS, and if you can give me an idea as to the cost of the AIS. In San Lucia, we're trying to implement that program as well, and I think one of the main challenges is actually the cost of the AIS. I'm not sure if your country have any in terms of a country-to-country agreement as to whether it will be possible for us to source, or you can guide us as to where we can get a reasonable price to acquire that type of equipment. I think that will be a good country-to-country exchange, if possible. Always you have to ask.
La Secretaría de Comunicaciones y Transportes es una instancia de seguridad nacional. Por ser instancia de seguridad nacional, tenemos un convenio de colaboración con el gobierno de Estados Unidos a través de una iniciativa que es conocida como Iniciativa Mérida. Iniciativa Mérida tiene recursos para comprar equipo a todas las instancias de seguridad nacional del país para trabajar en conjunto en 2 grandes ramas, la protección y la seguridad. Para que Iniciativa Mérida apruebe los recursos para comprar el equipo, la Dirección General de Marina Mercante tuvo que trabajar en este proyecto en justificar muy bien el porqué y la necesidad de los equipos. Esta decisión fue tomada por el comité que integra la Iniciativa Mérida, integrado por gente personal del gobierno de Estados Unidos, y fue vista de muy buen grado, fue muy agradable esta decisión y fue aprobada el presupuesto para adquirir estos equipos. Iniciativa Mérida no te da dinero para los equipos, te da el equipo y te lo da en donación. Y este equipo debe ser ocupado, para lo cual fue promovido el proyecto. Así fue como lo pudimos lograr.
Muy bien, información muy útil definitivamente para todos los aquí presentes. Es decir, insisto, no hay necesidad de inventar la rueda, hay mecanismos, hay procedimientos. El capitán Gutiérrez nos acaba de comentar uno, mediante el cual se pueden explorar las posibilidades de obtener este tipo de ayuda, sobre todo en equipos y en infraestructura que siempre es muy cara, ¿no? Capitán, muchas gracias por la participación. Ahorita busco eso. Gracias, capitán. We wanted to, I'll switch to English. again, and I'm uncertain if, no, we're good? Yeah, okay. We didn't know if we were gonna have the presenter from St. Lucia. However, Mr. Alexander's presentation is in fact in the pen drive that we're going to give you today. So everyone will take home every presentation that we have had the honor of being exposed to Monday, Tuesday, and today, including the pictures that we're taking on that first day, so that you may, well, sort of embellish your report with some photographs with you in it, and that way they know you were here. At least for the morning session. That's right. At least for that inaugural session. Anyway, well, according to the agenda, what we have to do now is this. I have to. I'm sorry. Do the summary of the workshop and great. Well, I'll be happy to do that. I think that in sum, the workshop, at least in my humble perspective, and I speak for the Secretariat, not just for me, has been a success. It's been very productive. We have had wonderful speakers speaking about very important issues, some of more interest than others, some of more applicability than others, but all of them, no doubt, very interesting and very informative, especially for countries like our countries who are constantly developing and that need to adapt. In that sense, we have had the opportunity here to make a qualitative jump, a leapfrog, if you will, learning from the mistakes that other people have made and learning from best practices that have already been implemented. And this is the richness of the seminar, of this workshop, I'm sorry. Likewise, I think that the dialogue that we have had between ourselves has been very productive. We have had a very productive dialogue, not only in presentations from invasive species and ballast water to, national policies and descriptions to specific instances like the Port of Miami. And so it's been very rich. The networking, the social networking, the human networking that we've managed to do here, I think is without a doubt the most valuable component. As of now, you all know each other personally. Some of you might have met before, but I doubt that all of you were together in one place for 3 days. So, and I am here, the Secretariat is here at your service and at your disposal. And before giving thanks and giving the floor to Andrew Basking, I would like to reiterate the welcome that the Secretariat gives the proposal put forth by Barbados at this workshop to create and work on the creation, rather, of a Caribbean or regional framework of maritime security, that we've identified 2 specific components that we need to work on. Communication, a communication network or strategy whereby if something happens in an installation in Trinidad and Tobago, CUNRA would be able to just quickly inform the rest of you in a very efficient manner. Should something happen in Dominica that might affect the cruise operations and traffic and so forth in the rest of the countries, then Benoit would be able to shoot you guys something. And so that's a first step, that communication, which is needed, and I think we can work on it. And then secondly, training. I think the issue of training was repeatedly mentioned as a need of this constituency, and a very real a need with strategic value. And this is something that the Secretariat will also work on with all of you, and we'll make that part of the proposal for this regional framework, but also with the members that were here, with our partners from environment with NAMEPA to dredging with Michael, to policy with MARAD, to practical training with the Coast Guard. You know, the actors were here. The actors for the play were all here. And I think that we need to capitalize on that. So I am extremely satisfied. I hope that you are too. I thank you in advance for your commentaries on the surveys that we handed out. These will enable us to do a better job next time, and they will also enable us to provide with an evaluation of these proceedings to the United States government, who was, as I mentioned in my opening remarks, generous enough to give us a grant for this event, and so perhaps we can reapply, given the success and the specific results and proposals made in this workshop, in order to build upon this and do a second iteration. I know that I have, and the Secretariat has, and MARAD has all your support for a second edition of this, which will be better in the sense that it will now respond to specific concerns that you have voiced here and that you have put in the evaluation surveys. So thank you very much. Anything I'm forgetting, I'll leave Andrew to take that, and then after that we'll just do a quick closing presentations. I would like to, if I don't have the chance to do so now, I mean later, to thank our interpreters, both of them, for an excellent job these 3 days.
You're saying everything I'm saying here.
And since I'm saying everything Andrew's going to say, I'm just going to quit it. And after he's done, we'll just have a certificate. I'll present you with a certificate. And I know that this, at least when I'm presented a certificate, I want a picture of that. So we'll do it if someone can take pictures of everybody taking their certificates, so we can take it home, and then you can show them that picture. And then you see, I was there at the inauguration, and I was there at the end. So anyway, Andrew, please.
Thank you, Jorge. I don't think I can match the number of words that you say. But thank you. On behalf of the United States Maritime Administration, I'd like to thank all of you for attending this first annual Maritime Safety Workshop. As Jorge said, we've heard about a number of topics. We've heard about safety culture, port safety, incident prevention, incident response, accident investigations. And we've also heard from speakers from a wide variety of fields, from government, from industry, academia, nonprofits. And I hope you found this wide array of perspectives as instructive as I have. It's been really interesting to hear, not just from government folks, about these issues. I hope we can also continue, as the work we've done here the past 3 days, sharing best practices and sharing lessons learned as we aim to continuously improve maritime safety in our region. This workshop, I think it's really been a really good example of the work that as a member state, or as member states, that we can accomplish working through the SIP and with Jorge's team. We're proud to be a member of the SIP, and we're also proud to chair the Port Safety and Security Technical Advisory Group, under whose auspices this workshop took place. We're working with SIP to reinvigorate this technical advisory group, and we look forward to your participation in other activities and events that we undertake, hopefully all together. Of course, none of this would be possible without Jorge and his team. So Jorge Duran, Ernesto Fernandez, who couldn't be here this week, Mona Swoboda, Berenice Gomez, Sandra Camacho's back there somewhere. All of you guys done incredible work to plan this workshop. I've seen them doing this since January. Yeah. And ensure that it went off without a hitch. So I know we've applauded for them once, but I think we can do that again for all the hard work they've done. I'd also like to recognize, is Carla still here, or did she leave?
Carla just stepped out.
Okay.
Actually,
Well, to recognize Carla Menendez in the United States Department of State, because their financial support allowed many of us to be here today. So, well, she's not here, so we won't applaud for her. Also like to thank the wonderful interpreters who have helped us communicate no matter what language we speak, so thank you. As well as the technical team. I think you might be the only member left. Who's made sure this event's been webcast and kept all of our IT running smoothly. Oh, he's back there in the back. It's so dark,
That's the
can't
guy that
see.
makes it.
Thank you.
Yeah. If I may interrupt Andrew before he closes up on the webcast, I would also like to express our thanks to those people who have, in fact, witnessed and participated through the event. I know, for instance, that Christopher Leville from Dominica has been avidly watching. I also know through Capitan Gallardo and Capitan Casarrubias, that they have been, in fact, been watching the proceedings in Mexico as well. And so for all those who are not here in physically, but who are here, thank you for watching, and we hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. Yeah, so finally, thank you all for making this such a successful workshop. I'm thrilled to have met so many of you, and I hope to see many of you at the SIP plenary meeting in June that'll be here at this very building.
At this very building.
Excellent. So hope to see you then. Until then, please enjoy the remainder of your stay here, despite the weather. Sorry. And have safe travels back home. So thank you.
All right, and in closing, all I'm missing really is to thank you, the participants, for making the trip, for putting in the hours, for not falling asleep during the sessions, especially after lunch, for bearing with us this, which is a pilot project, and being part of its success. You have in Washington a friend, and in the Secretariat, a secretary that is here with no other purpose but to try and serve you and help the countries and help my stakeholders in whatever they desire. For the interpreters, we're just going to go and hand out the certificates, and I know that you guys are through pretty soon, but I'll have you know something about the interpreters. I specifically requested them for the June meeting, because they have now learned a lingo. They have now learned the subject area of maritime safety and maritime terminology. And I've been checking them, believe it or not, and they've done an outstanding job. I've told them so personally, and I have requested the Department of Conferences to make sure that the English-speaking interpreters for the June meeting are these two fine ladies who have helped. So hopefully they'll listen to me and we'll have them back, and that way they'll be. Now, Portuguese and French, je suis désolé, but I don't have, anything like that. So thank you, ladies, again. Thank you, everybody, and we'll just do this recognition of the certificates in an informal fashion so we can all take the pictures. Thank you all.